Sola Bickersteth is co-founder and group director, business development of FIC Professionals Network plc, a recognized stakeholder-owned initiative and a key player in the financial inclusion ecosystem. Bickersteth is an expert in agency banking and financial inclusion, with over 15 years of managing pioneering projects like National Identification Number, National Agric Payment Initiative, and NCC SIM registration, among others. The pioneer COO of Nigeria Internet Registration Association and chief executive of One Network led the team that built the world's largest cyber center, Cham City, as listed by the Guinness Book of World Records. In this interview with Don Pedro Aganbi, he shares his experience in managing pioneering projects like National Identification Number, National Agric Payment Initiative, and NCC SIM registration. He also speaks on the impact of agency banking certification, the state of financial inclusion centers, as well as partnership with the federal and state governments, Bank of Industry, National Identity Management Commission, and the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, among others. Stay tuned.
What is your definition of financial inclusion?
To keep it simple, it's just about money. Access to money, and it's as simple as that. If we want to get a little technical, we can then start talking about payments, savings, insurance, pension, capital markets. Even the capital market is broken into two. There is the ability to buy shares in the stock market, for example. But there's also the possibility of villages going to the stock exchange to raise money to improve their environment, for example. Those are capital market examples. In some developed environments, inclusion simply means mortgage. They believe that everybody must have a house, a roof over their head. So most developed countries, they measure the percentage of the populace that have mortgage, which is usually around 60%. That's a measure for development. And then in some environments, it is e-commerce, especially in these modern ages. So all these things that we've spoken about, of course, there's also leasing as well. It's just money when you break it down and you keep it simple. That's what financial inclusion is all about. It's to enable everybody to have access to all these types of monies, no matter where they are, whether they're in the village, whether they're in the city, whether they're in what is called the formal economy or the informal economy.
How would you assess the state of financial inclusion in Nigeria today?
Once again, we can look at it from two lenses. The official figure talks about several things. When you take payment in Nigeria, that is simply about people having access to a bank account, being able to do transfer and receive money. 65% of Nigerians today are known to have a bank account, which is mostly adults. But we should even be thinking of owning a bank account from birth, because money issues start the day you are born normally. Of course, we now talk about the other metrics that I've mentioned already. They over around 10 to 20%, which is where most of our work needs to do. Most Nigerians don't have mortgage, most Nigerians don't have pension, and all those kind of things. However, when you look at Nigeria from an informal, or what we call informal perspective, there's something called Ajo, which is a traditional financial product. Majority of Nigerians in the informal sector, they are involved in Ajo, for example. When you decide to measure it, you will find out that a large percentage of Nigerians can be said to be financially included from that perspective. If you look at mortgage, almost everybody has a house, at least in their village. So you can say that from a housing perspective, almost every Nigerian, has. So, but those are the facts that we have. Majority of the official definition, just about 10 to 20% of Nigerians have access to finance or money, to keep it simple.
How do you think that financial inclusion has further improved the life of the average Nigerian?
You see, for most of us, there are three things that are very important to us in life: money, God, and our health. When you take God, every village in Nigeria has a church, a mosque, an imam, a pastor, a preacher, and even a traditional ruler. When it comes to health, there are traditional health people in every nook and cranny of Nigeria. There are nurses, there are doctors. There are chemists. There's always somewhere around the corner that you can go to take care of your health. But when it comes to money, that is where we are missing it in Nigeria. It is not whether it will improve our life. It is one of the three most important things of our life. So we have to recognize the importance and deal with it from that perspective. So because of that, every village in Nigeria, in every nook and cranny, we need a money advisor. We need a financial inclusion expert. We need people who, for every pastor and every imam, we need a financial inclusion specialist that can help us make access to money as important as it is to our life, not just something that will benefit us as individuals. Even in the cities, if you are living in Lagos, it doesn't mean that there's somewhere around the corner that you can walk into and you can say, I need a 5 million naira loan. It doesn't exist. So, right, even in our cities and our villages, we don't have financial inclusion. That is why about 90% of Nigerians don't have access to money the way it is, accessible in other environments. So it's not just a rural issue; it's an everywhere issue.
What are some of the hindrances against financial inclusion penetration in Nigeria today?
Culture is one of them. We have traditional cultures that don't encourage up till now the use of what you can call formal financial systems. But even as a nation itself, we don't have very clear definition of what financial inclusion is. From another perspective, you can say that what should the Nigerian hope to be able to achieve in their lifetime? Is it to build a house? Is it to buy a car? Is it to be able to take their children to? So there must be something that a Nigerian can aspire towards. So the absence of that very clear aspiration for every Nigerian does not give them that opportunity to even work towards it. You must know your destination before you can start the journey. So there is that general systemic approach that we need to do. Outside of that, Nigeria has a system that is tilted largely towards the federal activities. But part of what we need to consider is that a village can create its own money system and become rich just by that local arrangement. So if communities can become aware that they don't need federal government to become rich, they need knowledgeable people within their community who can help them organize their community to access a wide range of financial services.
Can you tell us about the financial inclusion centers in Nigeria, your vision and your mission?
It's self-explanatory. In Nigeria, we have bank branches, we have ATMs, we have microfinance locations, we have what we now call POS agents. But till today, there's nowhere in Nigeria where you can walk into and say, well, I want to buy a house, please, can you help me to package the money that I need to buy the house? Or I want to start a business. Can somebody be there to guide you? So a financial inclusion center is like your pharmacy, but this time around, they're helping you to treat your money issues. It's like your church, but this time around, instead of your spiritual challenges, they're helping you to deal with your money challenges. So for financial inclusion centers, our vision is that we are going to train and certify 210,000 financial inclusion experts across Nigeria. That is equivalent of 1 per 1,000 of Nigerian citizens. And when we say we certify them, they are going to build a career out of becoming money advisors. And it is much more lucrative than many businesses that a lot of our youths are doing today. So that is one area that government can look into. Communities can empower their youths so that they can become experts in money matters, and of course, many of them will become the most important people in their community once they acquire this certification. So that's the first target, 210,000. However, they also need where to operate from, which is the equivalent of churches and chemists and pharmacies that we've spoken about. And for that, we are targeting 18,000 financial inclusion centers across Nigeria, which is 2 per 8,800 wards that we have in Nigeria. So the 210,000 financial inclusion experts, about 24 of them will work out of 18,000 financial inclusion centers across Nigeria. As of today, we're already at 1,800. And we believe that in the next few years we will hit that number, and every nook and cranny in Nigeria will have a financial inclusion center where people can go and access money. So that is the infrastructure. The ultimate aim is that for every Nigerian between the age of 16 and, if you like, 65, they should be able to have access this wide range of money that we've spoken about, equivalent to about $35,000. In today's money, that's about 60 million. Just to be clear, we're not talking about cash. We're talking about, I want to start a business, I need to borrow 20 million, but not the kind of money that we have in the system now, where they will say, go and bring your father, go and bring your mother. Simply a systemic access to all these things. I have a pension account, I have a savings account, I have credit, I want to buy a tractor. I don't need to go and bring my father. I just need to sign a simple paper and I can get a tractor. And if I'm a farmer, I can start my farming business. Even if I don't go to school, I can go and learn a trade and buy equipment that I need to be able to do a decent trading income. So for us, the day every adult in Nigeria from the age of 16 is able to access up to 60 million in a wide range of financial products or money is when our mission is completed. A financial inclusion center is not a charity location. There's a reason why you have chemists and pharmacists in every nook and cranny of Nigeria, because they are profitable. A financial inclusion center or becoming a money advisor is a very profitable career to get into. We just need to let our youths become aware that, look, there is a career that you can do in your village. If you help people to buy a tractor, they will pay you commission of 200,000, and by the time you help 10 people, you are earning decent income. So the fact that it is a profitable business, the fact that it is a profession that people can go into, just like doctors and similar professions, and it can become enviable, is what is going to attract the building of that infrastructure. Of course, at the community level, what we're hoping is that community leaders can look within their community, look for young, brilliant people in their community, and they can help them to set up these centers. They can send them for training. The training are not very expensive, and they have already been subsidized largely by government. The Chartered Institute of Bankers just introduced the agency banking certificate, and it is already 80% subsidized. So the cost is small. So all the POS agents that we have now, they now have an opportunity. They can upgrade themselves to become certified agent bankers, and so they can become professionals, and just with very minimal cost. So that infrastructure will build itself because it is profitable and sustainable business, and it is an enviable career to get involved in. We just need to let Nigerians become aware of that opportunity.
So there is this statistics recently that 70% of Nigerians no longer go to the ATM. Why is this so?
90% of Nigerians now prefer to just go to a POS agent and gain access to cash. And that is one of the beauties of what we're talking about when we say financial inclusion. What is missing, however, in the POS infrastructure is for government to be a little more deliberate, because today anybody can just wake up, go to the nearest fintech, pay a token, collect a POS, and become an agent. And it's putting a lot of them into trouble. So basic training needs to be in place so that we're surer of the quality of service. But it has taken over ATM already. The next stage, which is the one we're building now, is upgrading from POS to financial inclusion experts, or upgrading from POS to money advisors. Of course, it's not every of the 1 million POS agents that are in existence today that will become financial inclusion experts. It's about 200,000 of them. But then that will now take over banking services as we know it. And very soon, bank branches will start shutting down and financial inclusion centers will start taking over.
And so if the POS terminals or the POS agents, as it were, they've taken over, based on your analogy, there are also issues of security. What can be done to curb that aspect?
We believe in a structural approach to getting things done. POS agents, for example, are supposed to be verified before they are onboarded. Each one of them is supposed to have an agent's number. And then, so the moment you start, for example, giving every POS agent their agent's number, or as CBN wants it, SANEF number, if a POS agent does what is not right, you can use their number to identify and to trace them. That's a very simple example of the kind of infrastructure that we can put in place to make sure that the system is self-sustaining.
So just before we wrap up this interview, 2025 is here. How would you rate, or how would you score financial inclusion in Nigeria, and what should we expect in 2025?
The CBN governor made a speech yesterday, and it was gladdening to our hearts. And we will take two aspects. We're going to train and certify 210,000 agent bankers in the next 12 months across Nigeria. That is the starting point. And the moment we have that capacity at the background, then we can now move to the next important thing, which is called open banking. Open banking is about to become mainstream in Nigeria. And the moment we do that, then the issue of I must go to bank A before I can do business, I must go to bank B before I can do business, is simply removed from the system. The moment you get your national identity number, automatically you have a bank account. And of course, the moment your financial information is put into the system, you are able to access a wide range of financial services. So we are very excited. We believe that this government, they are very deliberate in their actions. We may not be seeing some results yet, but 2025 is likely to start showing a lot of results to a lot of Nigerians.
Wow. Sola Bickersteth, thank you indeed for your time.
You're welcome.